From the pastures of Kentucky farms to your next family get-together, the Kentucky Beef Council is in the kitchen right now on Listens Live.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on Wave Listens Live. I'm your host, Brian Shlonsky, and as you just heard, today is a takeover show. We are here with the Kentucky Beef Council throughout our program today. We've got some great recipes to show you. We are talking all things beef here on this Monday morning. So as we start things off, I want to introduce you to somebody who's been with us before, Kelly Baird, who's the Director of Communications and Events for Kentucky Beef Council. Yes. Welcome back to Listens.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
It's a busy time here in our area. Of course, this is kicking off Derby week here, so we've got a lot of guests in town, maybe a lot of events and things. So we know beef, one of those things that can be used to entertain at every level, whether that's early in the morning, before you go to the track, or if you have a crowd coming over.
Yeah, so we're leading up to the Derby, and we're really excited. We've been traveling around with especially the Derby burger, but there are other ways leading up to the Derby that you can introduce beef into your diet, whether that is for breakfast, which we have here, or for a crowd and appetizers.
Let's talk recipes for a second, because you mentioned you brought some things here. What are the recipes that you brought here today to Listens?
Yeah, so this over here, we have a beef and egg scrambled mug, and then on the right here, we have kind of tater tot loaded breakfast nachos, if you will. But with this beef and egg mug, all we did, that's 2 eggs, some ground beef, and then my favorite toppings, I have some cheese, bell pepper, and spinach just mixed in the mug and microwaved for 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then...
So all that only takes less than 5 minutes to make?
Yes, super, super easy. Just crack the eggs into a microwave-safe dish, whether you have just a coffee mug or you have a little dish like this, and microwave all your favorite toppings. If you ended up liking mushrooms, onions, you can throw it all in there.
And it comes out looking like that?
Yeah, your favorite omelet toppings, and then I threw some cooked ground beef. That's cooked ground beef into there.
Make sure you prep that ahead of time.
Yes, cooked ground beef into the mug and then into the microwave for 1 minute 30. And then the breakfast nachos, you may notice some similar ingredients.
Yeah.
Those are just some tater tots in the oven with some cooked ground beef, scrambled eggs, and then again, favorite toppings. So you can have, the only thing that would make this better for me is some salsa.
Some salsa.
Hot sauce
oh, yes.
on the side.
I'm with you. I put hot salsa on all of these options here. It is interesting, though, because you were talking about these recipes are using basically the same ingredients. So what are some other ways to use this simple kind of recipe to make something totally different?
Yeah. So I know if you're anything like me, sometimes maybe you just don't want to cook a lot throughout the week.
Right.
Some things I do.
In the mornings, yeah.
Yes. And so I cooked a whole pound of ground beef and had it just kind of ready to go.
Okay.
But one of the things, these are both very, very similar. If you put it in a tortilla, you have a breakfast burrito, kind of along those lines, having the scrambled eggs and the beef, have all of your protein and nutrients in there, as well as having all of the other toppings, but you can choose wherever you want, whether that's on maybe a flatbread, a whole wheat flatbread, and you have a sandwich. So it's very, very simple to customize, and I guess trick your brain into thinking you're not eating the same thing over and over again.
I was going to say that's a good way to do that, and these do really seem to be very customizable. How about the toppings? Because that could be an area where we have different cravings in the mornings, and another way to customize for some flexibility.
Yeah. So beef is definitely not necessarily what jumps to your mind when you think of having a protein in the morning for breakfast.
Maybe not so, but we should be now, right?
So what we used on here was just ground beef, but you could use beef sausage, but also just having those and then steak are great, but the toppings are where we can kind of completely customize it. So just like I said, I have spinach and bell peppers, but if you like onions, you could have those lying around, or just all your favorite veggies that you can get all your nutrient-dense foods in, because breakfast is the most important meal. Start off your day with a whole nutrient-dense meal, and then you can start your day going completely charged.
Yeah, don't want to get hungry going into lunch and all that, because then maybe you'll overeat. Okay, let's talk about, because you said you had made the ground beef ahead of time, so let's talk about some of that preparation. Maybe we have some busy mornings coming up soon, and ways that we can prepare to make sure maybe it's not as busy, at least that aspect of it when it comes to breakfast.
Now, I know some people don't like leftovers. You don't want to have to heat up things, but with this, it's very easy to just maybe Sunday you have some extra time, maybe you're not at work, and you can cook a whole pound or a couple pounds of ground beef, but just to make sure that you're cooking it within 3 or 4 days so that it doesn't go bad in your fridge. But other than that, this is really simple. You can just pull out all of your ingredients, or if you have all of your veggies prepped ahead of time, it's really easy just to cut up. Maybe you have all of your bell peppers diced, ready in the fridge in an airtight container, and you have everything in safe airtight containers so that it's ready to go once you pull it out and start making your meals.
Okay, so that's one easy way to do it. Preparing ahead of time can be easy, can be efficient, and you think in this scenario, especially when it comes to using beef for breakfast, there's there's a lot of ways to do that.
Yeah. And you can make it more lean. We used a ground beef or a beef sausage. Ground beef is going to be easier to find at your store than beef sausage, but we used 80-20. If you're also looking for more leaner options, get in 93-7, 90-10, and those can help cut down the fat that you may have in your meal as well.
That kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, some of those customizable options. Maybe you were trying to work on some sort of diet plan or trying to be healthier with the meals that you can control. You can choose different kinds of ground beef and different ingredients, and that kind of makes it easier for people?
Yeah, absolutely. And then having or maybe you don't like the yolks of eggs, pouring egg whites in the container.
Another way to make those.
And then, yes, throw in some. So everything's super customizable for your lifestyle as well as just what your preferences are overall.
I think I could even achieve this one. Tell me what those were called again.
Just beef and egg breakfast mugs if you want to look.
Mugs, that's the word I was looking for.
On kybeef.com, if you look beef and egg breakfast mugs, you should find everything.
Okay, well, I've got some busy mornings coming up, so I think this is going to be incorporated.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
You stay with us here, and all of you as well, because we have got 2 more great segments coming up during this show with Kentucky Beef Council. It is our takeover show, and coming up next, we're going to talk a bit about entertaining for your family and friends. Don't go anywhere.